That's my gin.
Well, I wonder if anybody missed us.
Mine's more flying circus. I'll stick with those guys. Oh yeah. Whole song out of tune. I'm listening to them. I'm like, that happened last night.
Here we are. We're back. It's been a while. How long?
A year or two.
Month and a half, something like that.
Yeah, we kept getting rolling, and some came up. So
Yeah, just need a little break.
plus, summers suck. It's actually it's hard to get around when it's so hot out, man.
Stay in the AC.
Mm-hmm.
We had what Yosh Fest 2022 last night. So I'm dragging ass.
Yeah, and I did that Care Fest just before that. That's the reason I showed up there late. And then I did the Yosh Fest.
About 6?
Yeah, it was a little after 6.
Yeah, I went and dropped the kid off. Came back and you were there.
But it was really successful, man. It was
really good time. I don't think, did you even finish a painting or?
Oh, the one's kind of finished. I was just so tired. And then I tried to revamp it on the second one. The second one I started shaking and I was like, okay, I gotta stop.
Well, I said, Joe ended up painting most of the bricks on mine. She wanted to paint. So I was like, all right. So I let her paint. And then I took her home and I was like, well, I don't want to paint. I'll ask my helper.
Sound like a corporation that your helpers do all the work and you get all the credit and money. Exactly. There we go.
I was going to go to work. I was like, she painted all of these things. I am a 10-year-old.
Oh, yeah. So since we started, I'm Kevin. That's Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'll just have them introduce themselves.
Yes.
I'm James.
Alex.
And they're here from Outlaw Guitar, kind of around the Dodge City area.
Yeah. Yep. We'll call it Dodge City.
Ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the reason I said area.
He was like, what's the ish? I'm like, it's not quite Dodge.
Yeah.
Outside of it.
Yeah, it's one of those million little towns that are around Kansas that no one knows.
Ensign, which is actually Ensign, but nobody gets it right anyway. So they just go to Ensign.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whatever. And
population
Arkansas,
150.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
How did they come up with Arkansas when it's spelled Arkansas?
We just had this.
Yeah, French. There is no SAS that equals saw. No. Just no, but they will live by it. Like,
yeah, that'll be an argument forever. But they're from the South. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly, and that's why they call it Arkansas.
And Outlaw Guitar Company. He makes some beautiful. Like I say, you make them right. And
I'm the business manager.
The business manager.
I can't keep up with both. It really turns out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you guys know as artists who try to do some social media, they're like, why don't you do your live builds? I was like, oh, there's not enough profanity allowed for sure for that to be shown. And some of my builds, it varies. I try to tell people if they want to do a custom order, it could be 1 to 3 months. There's so many variables in all of that, even just to give you well, how much does it cost? Well, what do you want?
Yeah.
That I can't stop and start messing with camera angles and all that. Some of the guys, who do it the best can. But I just saw a video of, you ever heard Morningstar guitars? He makes guitars out of glass.
Damn.
That's a whole nother level of badass. And he's 20 something. And I was shocked.
He probably has his own cameraman.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the deal. He did stationary cameras, but he did certain shots on purpose. Now that he's got the process, but his process is I just, mounted an angle grinder onto this kind of a thing that I built like a sled. And that's how I do that. It's so dangerous. Not even wearing gloves. Yeah. I messaged on his thing. Not only did I was like, wow, he's going to share secrets of how he does this, but dude, get a safer job. You're 20 something. you've got plenty of life to live. I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah.
I was in the wooden shops and it's amazing. I have 10 fingers and toes. We had so many near death, near injured, episodes.
Yeah, I've had that happen. Your kickback didn't work and shot a piece of wood right in my chest.
Yeah. One thing I learned.
Holy shit. So now I don't stand in front of him like I used to.
Exactly. Remember, it wants to be a tree. and your job is to make it something else.
So
Yeah.
he's doing glass that wants to be a desert.
Yeah, it wants to be not that. And I mean, his thinnest piece is like 1/2 inch thick, and he builds on it like 3 or 4 of them to make the 2-inch total. But you're watching him grind stuff.
We'll get the other Josh to see if he'll start building guitars.
Yeah.
He just learned how to do glass work. Another friend of ours.
Oh, nice.
And
And
we were
that's
at
what I
a
was thinking. Like
and
it's
we're-
cast or blown somehow. I don't know how he does it. Because everything.
because
Glass.
he's getting better and better because now he's doing those bowls and those
Yeah.
cups and stuff.
They say it takes like a good 3-4 solid years before you're comfortable as a glass artist.
He started,
doing it.
yeah.
Daily, maybe.
Yeah, all of a
20,000
sudden,
hours, right?
All of a sudden, here he was, a glass artist, like about a year ago.
I had a cousin who did that out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Or no, they did pottery. They ended up at some big outfit though doing it. We're like, did he have a degree in that?
Pretty much when we started
yeah.
the
Because
forge.
yeah, it was like all of a sudden he's doing glass
Yeah.
right after we got him to do some artwork. It's like, what the heck?
Case in point, the full circle is he did his guitars first, and then he finally did some social media, but it wasn't even live. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. Not only live, but to then show your secrets. Because I mean, with guitar building, there are 100 ways to do something. It's not right or wrong.
His process
Yeah.
is just fucking insane.
And just like I thought, like, oh, I'm going to learn how to build glass guitars. I'm going to learn. No, absolutely not going to do any of that. Because I was like, there's little comments like, yeah, sometimes it doesn't go so well because it could be an accidental blowout on glass.
Yeah. Start all over.
Yeah, and he didn't show any of that. And I'm like, of course not.
Yeah.
That'd be great stuff to record at least if you're not going to do live.
See,
But-
that's the kind of stuff we need to get with James. Is
Yeah.
when he's throwing guitar bodies across the room because he lost the nut somewhere.
It's more, yeah. It's not even.
Well, what you do is you
usually-
edit the ones that have all the good stuff, and then you do like a special.
Yeah.
where it
Thanks for
shows-
tuning in.
totally.
Anyhow, you can
Do
go back
blooper
and watch
reels.
it on YouTube anytime, Randall.
Yeah, right. That's the beauty
Randall's
of
on there?
That too.
He did that video. Randall, did you ever finish that video on us, or was it just a promo thing you did? That was so cool.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
see
like
he posted some other stuff he's been working on too. So
Yeah,
when we
he
first
was
met
busy,
you,
I'm
like
sure.
that show. I mean, what did we have? Like 8 months notice? It wasn't quite a year, and I was like, shit.
No,
I
it
gotta
was
get busy.
4. We
Four-
had
4
about
months?
4 month we had 4-month notice on it.
And I'd already sold 2 of the guitars I'd made by then, and so I only started in January of 2021.
And then the
so-
person who won the guitar, it was funny.
Mike
because
Martin.
Mike Martin,
A
yeah,
really
really I
good
actually jam with.
local guy that was like,
He was the best guitar player in town. Basically.
Yeah.
and he only bought like one ticket. He
Yeah.
won.
Yeah. He did buy 3 sets of strings from me, even tipped me, and I was like, I was trying
That's
to
the
give
one
him
thing I
homie
hate
price.
about being
Yeah.
being
He's like,
like
no, man.
the MC for these things. 'Cause I'm like, God, I'm always giving away such cool stuff, but I don't enter because I'm the MC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
conflict of interest.
you know,
I would have let you
because
jump in.
if you win, then
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
what's
real.
up, Austin?
And to be
I guess-
fair, he didn't win. Somebody else did, but they didn't show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't there. They left.
Yeah, and we
Which
try to
you
make
had
it
be
clear.
there.
Like,
see,
be
I've
there
had
in
so many
person.
people when I do raffles like that. I said I will not mail my stuff to you. You have to be at the show.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure the gal that won last night, but she had probably the most tickets.
She had 100 freaking tickets.
Oh, yeah.
We had somebody spend
Probability, right?
$200 on tickets tonight
So,
to the raffle.
she-
Yeah,
she
I'll
would-
give you
yeah.
one to hold too.
She
Not
won
that
2 of the 3 items, and then the other guy came in
Maximize.
just before and bought like 4
good.
tickets.
Yeah.
Just before, and it turns out he's real good friends with Josh.
Well, yeah.
Here, can you hold back rigger for
It's
me?
funny because that same person
The
probably.
name is Backbreaker for a reason. How much that guitar? Would you say
She
12
weighs
pounds?
12
I think
pounds.
it's
She's our
12 and a
thick
half,
bitch.
almost 13.
Yeah, we call her the thick bitch.
But it's a lot in the hardware too. I mean, it is Northern Ash, which is like your typical baseball bat material. We can show on the back. I actually dyed it to match as best I could the rosewood hues, and it actually worked out. This is one of the rare guitars that I did something, it worked perfectly the first time, and then I just like, oh shit, quickly clear coat the hell out of it.
Yeah.
The guitar I just finished before this one, I repainted 14 times. And then I learned real quick what my first master luthier was trying to teach me by outsourcing paint jobs. Is one, California sucks and the regulations are crazy.
Yeah.
Like you need an afterburner. That shit costs like $500,000 in a sealed paint room. It's like some private factories don't have those, even from like name brand companies that make millions. But that you also like don't want to fuck up because then they use poly, which I'm totally against. I'm more of a nitro lacquer kind of guy. Polyurethane's water based, and it's what they basically paint cars with. It's like epoxy, but water based, and it's on there so thick it like adds up to 5 pounds to a guitar of plastic. You're encoding, or you're encapsulating all of your beautiful wood and the tone woods, and you're muting it with 5 pounds of plastic.
You know, the one thing I love is when I see an old guitarist get up there with an old guitar and you see all the wear and tear. on it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you still want to preserve it, so you fix it and maybe put a light coat on it.
Yeah, they might respray, but it's with the wear spots, right? From being played. Like I found out John Mayer didn't do his, and I was really disappointed. Like somebody else had worn that thing down to the bone. But you can't do that with poly guitars. They will last 40 years without going through the clear coat because it's like half an inch thick.
Appreciate it.
You know, so these will you can go right through.
Oh, our video thing he said he did.
Just like Gibson, you know, and all the custom shops, they spray nitrile lacquer steel. It actually shrinks for its whole life. It doesn't actually harden. And then it'll start cracking through and stuff like that. And you can accelerate that with like dry ice and all sorts of really cool tricks. But it totally killed the guitar.
This is where he starts. We're painting.
Yeah, heck yeah.
That's awesome.
We got a preview there. I can just watch him.
And I can click on it too when we build it up. Right now, we did this one about a year ago, was it?
Yeah, I mean it was.
And it was someone's. This is back when we gave. We let the audience kind of dictate a little more what we were doing, but then the audience got really
Weird.
Complicated. I'm not going to say anything to burn my audience here.
They're never wrong, but they can be.
Well, they
were wrong.
They were starting to
tough.
They were starting to say, do a Viking potato swinging from a rafter of a pirate potato. With
sounds like a Lisa.
And it was just on and on. We tried to do it, and it looked like a piece of poop swinging on a rope with a freaking crack in my.
So our friend,
you're like, this is your fault.
Our friend Tyler.
So this came about. Someone wanted to Fab Four. Well, I'm a horror genre guy, so that's my Fab Four.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I love it because it's got like the main four that you think of when you really think.
Yeah, the Invisible Man's on there too, so it's actually 5.
Yeah. I love that joke. I just watched Hotel Transylvania 2 again for around my kids, and you know, the Invisible Man's like, how about my chick? You know, they're like, you don't have anybody with you. Like, yeah, I do. She's just invisible. And they're like, oh, is this the one from Connecticut?
Yeah, our friend Tyler, who's actually currently doing a paint job, a custom guitar for us. He lives over on the East Coast, but he does lives where he gets, you know, people throwing in ideas of what he wants to do, and he gets some crazy ones.
I
and
say
man,
you're totally
he
brave.
nails it every time.
Well, and sadly, like
I mean, if we did it full time, maybe, but we don't, you know, and it's just really just hard to.
Well, I think it's important to do that. Know your bandwidth, you know, because you're investing time usually in a real job plus, you know, your art, and then the
and we, you know, we have some more new stuff coming up with this. We're going on our second year now.
Yeah, we're in our second year this
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not to expect immediate results.
We're going to change some of our premise here on some stuff. We got some ideas and stuff.
Yeah, we always get new ideas, but a lot of it's.
And we'll try to couple.
Takes, you know, I mean, I got to do during the week.
Yeah,
work,
absolutely.
Like that. And,
well, that's why they tell you no entrepreneurship, including being an artist, is like easy. I mean, it's like it's a full-time job. You don't get paid for it, even if you don't want it to be.
Yeah.
Because we've done some like Thursday shows at a place outside an art thing. We'd invite artists to come play, and while we're doing art and stuff. And
heck yeah.
Unfortunately, then they scheduled us on one when someone else was performing there.
Oh no, a double conflict.
Yeah.
Somebody's Outlook wasn't configured right.
Well, they were more important than we were. So.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's the way it usually goes.
I mean, the color, like as much as I used to hate the painting, and that was like his premise on just outsource it. It's like if they mess it up, they've got to fix it. And like poly in particular is really hard to get off, like really hard. It's like glass, and sanding it all back is impossible. But like I get so much joy out of actually doing the finishing when it works out. I should say, yeah. Because that guitar I painted 14 times, it was like overspray because I was trying to do the sides color shifting, and that stuff's like $20 a can for enamel base.
Yeah, I'm painting a guitar now as a commission. It's taken me over a year because once I got somewhere, he's not happy with me. But I got to this point on the painting, I was like, man, I really, really. A lot of times I go away and come back, and I kind of like it, and I was like, no. So I started completely over. And he's not happy with it, but I'm like, dude, I want to give you my best product I can.
Yeah.
And so if I can't get there, then I'll probably be here. Here's everything back. But
that's going to happen. People got to respect that too, especially if it's a
but
new medium.
Unfortunately, when you're doing a custom piece and you guys want it tomorrow, you're going to pay tomorrow's prices.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you.
Well, that was how the painter for him actually works. Pat Wilkins, he's famous in the LA area. He does overflow for big shops. and custom art.
Because I have a lot of people come in. Can you do this in like 3 days, 4
Yeah.
days? And I'm like, what?
His
Yeah,
fast is 6 months.
If you want my speed stuff, then you come when I'm doing my speed art.
Yeah,
And I'll
yeah,
do it there, but
exactly.
you're going to pay that price.
Yeah, throw it in the queue.
And it's not going to be as
but for them to want like some 10-foot painting.
I don't know. The speed one you did for our company logo was pretty fucking rad.
Well,
he apparently didn't love it, but then
I don't like
it. And you got
We
mad
normally
at
don't like
your
anything
amount.
we do.
Isn't that the point of being an artist?
Yes.
I well, last night he saw me. I quit. I never stop a painting until I'm done. I quit in the middle of 2 of them last night.
Oh,
Really?
Man.
But I didn't quit. I put them off the side
Exactly.
because I was just so
We
tired.
were just enjoying having a good
Well,
time.
I find what I do the best. Well, I took on too many before that event because we ended up with like 12 guitars there. I had a lot.
You had a lot.
And that's way too many, especially with my ADHD. I was actually better off. My magic number is like 3. I always have 3 guitars in different stages.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll do is when I hit a roadblock on one, whether it's creative or just physical, because there's so much mechanical to this, I'll just go to the other guitar.
That's funny
Period.
because that's great advice for an artist too, of any type.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people. Well, I'm on an artist block, and I'm like, there's no such thing to me.
Move on to the next thing.
I move on. I always got 3 or 4 paintings going. I got a lot of old stuff that I'll go back to and go, oh, now I know how to finish this.
You're re-inspired by your own work.
And then even if I don't want to do actual painting, then I'll go and watch a movie, or I'm a costumer too, so I'll go work on a costume for a show.
Right, change your medium.
Literally, I just change it and
get you back on the positive side of it because it's so.
And so many people. Well, I mean, and instead of doing something, they completely shut down. It's like, because you're focusing on that part. Go do something you can do.
You're still fixated on how the last time you had that interaction, it wasn't going so great.
Or change what you're doing. I mean, instead of painting, go into inks or pencils.
That's what I did. I went to dyeing because it's way more forgiving, and clearing's easy, So, but now you got to learn how the dyes interact. You're like, oh boy, that's a whole nother skill set. So what sucks about guitars, you got to be good at like 23 different things to do from start to finish. They're like, cool, I'll just spend 20 hours on each or 20.
I've had a lot of people ask me why I don't do tattooing, and I could probably do it, but I'm like, I don't want to. I'm already full. I do photography. I do costume.
You don't want carpal tunnel. You're already in line for it.
I got arthritis in my shoulders, and that's part of the reason why I don't.
Get ready to be like this a lot. I mean, Les Paul died at 93 with his arm set in this motion because he broke his arm in a car wreck in like 56, and he had told him at the time, like, make sure it's at this angle because I'm going to keep playing. Yeah. And it was stuck that way. But he was still playing shows every Monday night in New York to the day he died in 90-something. And he was like this. His body, like they take the guitar away, and he's still like, don't worry, it's backbreaker. And he's still like this. You go say hi and stuff to people. But I was like, he's built for this position, like permanently. But he can do that.
Every time he breaks something, lock it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to keep playing.
There's another one. That's why he had to play Les Paul's his whole life, not because it had his name on. But I mean,
they built him around him.
Yeah, he's such a legend. He actually built his own prototypes, and they still have one in a museum. But they were more like semi-hollows, these weird, he called them boxes because he was playing acoustics before then since he grew up. But he made his first acoustic preamp when he was 12 because he played the drive-ins, but everybody could hear his voice because of the PA, but they couldn't hear his guitar. And so he took a phone apart like a genius because they had a receiver, took the receiver, put it inside the guitar, made it to a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch jack, plugged that into his PA, boom. At 12. So he didn't get that patent because somebody else claimed it, by the time he was 20. But he did invent multi-tracking.
Yeah, patents is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he didn't rely on that stuff to make him the money. It's not like the dude who invented the barcode where like, he's loaded. He gets a nickel every time someone prints a barcode. Whoever did the QR code got around him, and that's shifting. But
one thing I know you guys probably deal with, like what we do, is we get bitched at all the time for our prices.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And
they're always too high.
Yeah, they're always too high because, like, our guitars start at $1,500.
Yeah, and I try to build less than that, but I know I've seen the graph data in the music industry I've worked in for 10 years professionally.
Our
at a grand
show wise, not so much. Like big festival wise, yes.
Yeah. It's a different group of people.
Yeah. Festivals, they're wanting deals,
but at festivals, almost everybody else, jacks their prices up at these festivals to begin with. And because we were at this Care Fest, which was for autism yesterday before I went to
Oh,
the Yoshi Fest. And I'm there with a fairy troop, and I'm actually we're doing this little kiddie rodeo thing, so I'm dressed as a cowboy there. But they kept asking for the prices of stuff, and we had these wings and stuff like that.
It's too much.
And they're like, well, we were like, well, how much should they cost? And they were like $2. And I'm like, well, they'd go to Walmart and get your wings.
Right.
Yeah, we had people because we were.
Now we do buy wings at a wholesale price, but we also come along. We put flowers and modify that.
Oh, yeah.
We put a lot of work
Time
into
into it.
and we're not charging like $500. We're only charging $20. So,
We had a booth at the Wave last night for the It's for Lovers
Just
Festival.
I wish I didn't get
And-
there. I'd stop by.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry,
one
did
of
I tell
our
you?
guitars, Roxanne, she was getting so much love.
On my Instagram.
And the main
Case
thing
in
that
point,
they
I
had
actually
was
Didn't happen.
I'm
you
too
know,
busy
she's
unpacking the previous
$1,500.
four cards of the guitar.
Actual guitars, though, probably didn't flinch at that. They're
oh
probably-
no,
yeah.
they
Well, yeah. The singer from Hawthorne Heights
Heights,
literally
yeah.
walks up to me and says, "Dude, this is beautiful work. Like, keep doing what you're doing."
Mhm.
I didn't recognize him as the singer. I didn't want to obviously tell him, but I was just like, "Thanks, dude." That was a good shout out. I knew it was somebody probably involved in the bands, just like the band's photographer. He really dug my stuff, and you are putting a price tag kind of on your time. I learned how to do that in LA. Time is money.
yeah, that's
Unless
what a
you're
lot
in
of people
traffic.
don't realize.
In which case, just kill yourself.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm not putting time into what I'm doing, but it's because I'm doing speed art. So if I actually
Right.
did it by how fast I'm doing it,
Yeah.
then it'd be like $5.
That's another equation, though.
Yeah.
But I do it by size and whatever. If you want bigger, I got prices for it.
You
If you want
can
smaller, I got
Do
prices
it
for
that fast because you've been doing it
Eric's guessing numbers.
You know.
And we're not.
for
We're not
thousands
doing
of
anything.
hours.
But
You won, Eric.
You won.
You won.
You won.
You
Nothing.
won, man. You won.
I'll give you a 10% off
Cynthia,
discount.
hey.
There you go. He's a local rap artist.
Oh, I know
Calls
he's
himself
been one.
Kush.
Well, I mean, although who was it that got cited recently?
What's up,
Playing
Jordan? We
guitar?
got
He's on solo.
Facebook user Greeting King.
Oh,
Greeting
I know
King.
this. It's not Tumlo.
Probably. I don't think that's. Eric's right there. So. Greetings. Facebook user.
Volume pot doesn't work for one.
I don't want to
Yeah.
hold this.
You know what,
You
one.
will, just put it in your lap.
Oh.
You know what I really like about what you're doing, and I like what you said earlier. I won't bring his name up, but the guy that you did sponsor, and so it gives me an idea. So I may be talking to you about my band after this.
Yeah,
So,
please do. And
because
honestly,
my guitarist only has one guitar right now,
there you go.
but we're a punk
We can
band,
fix
so,
that.
Yeah,
so
we
I-
can fix
so
it.
I
Yeah, I
want
was
the
about
one.
to say, you should only have one. You're a punk band.
But when every time we travel, it never fails. Breaking one string's no problem, but they always break three.
Hey, we're string joy dealers too, so
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, we got the hookup on that.
But
Stranger.
still like to have that second backup because when in the middle of the show,
You absolutely should.
and you're in a punk show and it's only going to last 15 minutes, all of a sudden it's 45 minutes.
Oh, you got
Yeah.
you don't have time to string and then go on to the next
Yeah.
song. They'll murder you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody who plays Floyd Roses has to do that because
Yeah, I don't even know what he plays.
It's gonna take forever.
I know he plays through an orange cab.
yeah.
I haven't even looked at his guitar.
And it's not about like, oh, I have one of those strings because it's still like, yeah, we're not gonna sit here for 5 minutes while you put one
Right.
string on. Even if you did it in a flash, like that's 2 minutes minimum,
Yeah, even those guys that are
Under
really good
pressure.
at it.
which,
Well,
is, which
or-
is now killing your
Or when
groove,
you get those one people that have guitar techs off to the side,
right.
but they still playing the second guitar.
Yeah. They're running in, trying to get it in there as soon as they can. Go, go, go. Don't pay.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yes, so. I worked on Wolfie.
I'm hiding behind Kevin, and you're taking that away from
I'm
me.
on I'm on artist block. I just talked about it. Oh, I saw you working on Wolfie.
Yeah,
I don't want to touch Wad there because save it for.
well, we need to work on bodies.
You want to bring this on down?
Yeah, I think we need to.
Just darken it up.
Yeah.
Cover up our freaking signatures.
Yeah.
This is black.
Redo it.
I think I can handle a big blob of black if you got it.
No, I don't know. It might be getting low. No, I know what's one out here. Low.
You got a Mars black.
There's still a little bit on there. Dollop, Kevin, dollop. Conserve it, dollop.
Yeah, I know.
Kevin's like,
I didn't mean to do that last night. It just happened.
he's
No,
notorious.
No, I
And then,
was.
and then Jana was like, do I throw this pallet away? We're packing up last night. I'm
Yeah.
like, no. I mean, it's just a fucking paper plate, but it's got like that much,
That's what saran wrap is for, right?
Well, no, I mean,
No.
it was, no, it's just,
These are pieces of art.
yeah. It's just paint. I usually use all mine. Usually after the shows, Kevin.
I've gotten
Yeah,
better.
he's gotten better.
But
if
last
there's
night
excess,
I was so tired last night. I was just
yeah.
oh shoot, way too much.
Oh, I just threw everything in the car last night. Yeah, I was like, "Argh."
That's how we were loading up after the show at Wave last night.
Well, yeah,
was
well,
we just threw and we're in a tiny ass Prius.
Yeah. But we all kind of got the same vibe. Like, it's time to load up, and we looked out the window and it was pouring. So I was like, well, okay, we're gonna wait for this. And so it kind of stopped. And
Yeah.
we got one guy loaded up, and then it started raining again.
So he had glassware, but it was all in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
And then of course we have paintings. So the only thing that would
Some of the
that
prints.
military trunk I have, it's water resistant, so it could have survived it. But
Yeah, we're not doing a giveaway today. We kind of been doing giveaways on beard products. I'm an ambassador for a Big Sexy Beard brand. We can still give them a shout out. They got some great products, but I've gone through all mine stuff, and the heat, some of it melts.
And we're kind of rebuilding our premise of the show a little bit. Hopefully next weekend we'll introduce it. I couldn't turn down the fact when they hollered at me about outlaw guitars, though. I was like, oh hell yes. Hopefully this could be a running thing every time you come.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm wearing Wichita a lot.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, after Winfield, which is bluegrass season, that I go to every year for way
It's a
too
life
many years.
for us, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I used
life.
to-
It's
I
a
used to-
lifestyle.
I used to go a lot, and I haven't gone probably the last 10 years. But when I was younger, in
Yeah,
college,
first and foremost,
Right
we're
on.
bluegrass musicians.
And then
Have
we
you
come
done
through
acoustic
Wichita.
guitars?
I haven't built any from scratch. I've seen it done. I did build my mom like a mountain dulcimer, which is like a lap, thing
Yeah.
with 4 strings. A bit weird. I wish I hadn't.
Yeah,
Hopefully she
oh
won't
God,
watch this.
Last year it was
Like she's taking
Painful.
lessons on it now
Yeah.
in like groups. Like she was a bell ringer for a church. That was already too crazy. Like, okay, mom, whatever makes you happy. While she was trying to shake an egg like at our camp circle, but my mom doesn't have the best rhythm.
Yeah.
And she tried like Amy Grant songs at church, Christmas time, and not quite there either. Like, hey, mom, maybe you should,
So your mom needs to do like me, just start a punk band.
Yeah. And she always aims high, and that's where I learned, a lot about aiming high. Like, 'cause then when you fall short, you're still better than you probably would have. Guessed yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good.
Which is what I do. I my OCD and CDO doesn't help because it's in alphabetical order. Doesn't allow me to leave a obvious mistake. But what I learned from my first master luthier was it's not that a master luthier never makes a mistake. He just makes it disappear.
Yeah.
To where you never knew it was there. And that you should be your hardest critique, knowing where every little flaw is. Yeah. Now, somebody may not see all those, but you also might get that customer that sees every single one of them because he's got the CDO too. Yeah. And you're not going to make that guy happy because, like I said, making your commissioner happy or somebody who just buys the guitar the way it is. And that's why I made these first dozen this way. It's portfolio. Just like, any other artist, because I'm going to build a website. They're like, why don't you have a website? I'm like, because I don't have anything to fucking put pictures on.
Yeah.
You have to have examples of your work. And I haven't sold 12 custom orders. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't have the 2-year line waiting list that some of the bigger companies have, but I worked for those bigger companies for like a decade.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did my time for sure. And when somebody asked me about apprenticing under me, I'm, like, sure, but just be ready for 40 hours a week. For no pay
and
for
lots
a
of
year.
sanding.
Yeah,
So much fucking sanding.
Hope you like sanding.
God, so
that
much
was how
sanding.
I got into my first custom shop to actually do more than sanding. Was like how good do you sand? I brought in the guitar.
That's so funny because at one point I started up a little side business for refinishing furniture.
Yeah.
And my dad was retired. He's still working, but he worked till he couldn't, and then he would take the year off until he could go back to work again.
Yeah.
So I hired him. All he wanted to do was sand.
Yeah. It's
He would've
very
been perfect.
therapeutic.
But he was like in his 70s. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to sand.
Yeah. You don't want to be
Hell
responsible
yeah.
for like the refinish.
But then he
or
started
anything.
working again. And
He gets a lot of his aggression out on sanding. You'll see him there with the guitar body, and he is just like,
Yeah. Particularly like on the 14th attempt to paint this guitar.
Yeah.
That which changed so many meanings. Like I get this, it's so bipolar because I do it and then like I hate it and then I did it and I'd be like, oh, this is even better than it was like 2 times ago.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this happened. And I went through that over and over because I didn't overspray that. It turned out the color change has to have a black, bass
Yeah.
in order for it to color change correctly. I didn't read that fine print, even though it clearly says on the front, like over black. In a big circle, because you even get reviewers of it on Amazon. This shit doesn't work with a crap.
Yeah.
It didn't color change. Everybody's like, did you have a black base?
Yeah.
Because they think like, it has to be white, or I can just paint it on nothing.
Yeah.
Wood grain, because mahogany doesn't have a tint, or alder, or pine. Yeah, they're all yellowish or reddish. Like there's tint and everything.
Yeah.
It's not white and it's not black. So black, of all things, has to be the base coat. So I redid black, but then I oversprayed the black on both sides, and then it covered my copper. I had like liquid metal copper.
Yeah.
Like this is all satin black back, which is one of my favorite because you can't clear coat satin or flat, otherwise it becomes gloss black.
Yeah.
So it's like, nope, gonna leave it, and I'm gonna play it around with it. That's what really sucks. I have so many guitars, they don't get enough love from me.
Yeah.
So I want the wear to be authentic. I mean, I work for LSL Instruments. They make ridiculous, crazy, nice relics. The Fender Custom Shop price level, $3,500, with some of the worst hardware ever. I don't care if they hear me say that, because they'll use like the Wilkinson stuff that's made in Sungil over in Singapore. Whereas my company, I'm trying to always get U.S. companies. And if they can't make everything 100% U.S., I'm okay with that. They're a U.S. brand at least. I'm at least keeping the money in our country, even if they're outsourcing some of it. So I'm kind of flexible, and Graph-Tech's like Canadian. But I'm like, don't hate me because I'm using a Canadian company. I'm like, let's call it North American. Okay?
Yeah.
But then they're
Made
like,
in North America.
I haven't gotten
that
to war,
includes
so I'm here with
Mexico, though. And I'm like, no, real North America, like us in Canada, okay? So, I work for Roland, and we're called RAM now, which is Roland Americas, because we represent Canada, Seattle, which is our cloud division of smaller employees.
Yeah.
Then Los Angeles, which now doesn't have a headquarters really, so we're all remote and spread out. But let's call it LA, and then Mexico and Brazil. Which are still tiny new offices, but they're like RAM. I'm like, I gotta laugh because that's a great analogy. We're Team RAM. I'm like, yeah, ram it like a Dodge Ram.
I just think of Ramrod.
Now just Ram.
Ramrod.
I just thought about this. All the
Team
Dodge
Ramrod.
City people we always bring in here sure do have some good stories. You ever notice that?
You
I
have
think it's
to.
because you're way out in the West and there's no one else to talk to but
Yeah, that's
yourself.
exactly what it is. So, pay attention to us.
And that's another reason I'm worried about social media is it might consume me.
Yeah, it
And
did
then
feel-
I'm not doing my art.
And
I'm
that's
just doing
why
a
he
show.
has to-
That did feel Frankie in a little bit better, didn't it?
Yeah.
So now we got to do the werewolf.
Okay.
Werewolf and Drac. I don't
How are we going to do Drac? Because it kind of looks like he's giving him love.
He looks like
Yeah,
he's
maybe put his hand
Oh,
around
from
grabbing werewolf booby or something.
Or rubbing his temples. This is up high. We'll have him rubbing his temples.
look at him, the shiner.
Well,
God.
Tavo X.
Tavo X, he's a local rap artist too.
That's why you're talking about the blue. All right.
Yeah, so we're not touching that. Tavo's going to finish that.
All right.
We've left Drac for him.
We may add the
Yeah.
body stuff in, but other than that,
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to, from the backside it was crazy. I was like,
Yeah,
is
why
that-
did
is
we
that
put
Gene
his-
Simmons?
why did we put his chin over his head like that? That was so.
I think that was just poor planning, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think that was just
Well, that's when we used to.
scale.
Well, we used to finish him in an hour too. We were still
Yeah,
finishing
right,
him in an hour.
Oh, and that's the deal thing about your time, minus your expertise.
I
That
think that was
gave you the
one.
ability to do that in that quick.
I think
Most people
that
don't know
was
there's
one I did.
100 hours in a guitar,
Yeah.
from start to finish. Depends on if I did it from a blank status
Yeah.
or started with parts that were already made by another company, which is another thing I'll do. If I can't make it in time,
Well, as
or-
a whole, as being an artist and a creative and even photographer and stuff like that, people don't understand that part of it and they don't care.
yeah,
So I adjust accordingly because I also want people at my income level will be able to afford me. So a lot of times
right.
I know I'm undercutting myself. It
Right.
just
Yeah.
is what it is.
It's the cost of doing business,
And
sometimes.
you know,
You can't write it off. Well, you can write off losses. My Schedule C looks amazing this year.
Yeah.
well,
what
I
they
made-
didn't tell me is it doesn't apply till
I
next
finally
year.
I actually turned myself into an LLC last year.
Nice.
Oh, that's
that's
awesome.
a journey.
That's going to be an experience when it comes to taxes.
Now you got to make an S corp that manages your LLC. Look it up.
Okay.
That helps your tax.
I know you said escort, and I'm thinking lot lizard.
There you go. That works too. You go with it.
Where
It helps.
are you going? Oh, I'm
insurance
headed
liability,
over to
too.
Noel's truck stop. Why is that? That's where my accountant's at.
Right. Hey, you still got somebody. It's not your name on there that makes it liable. That's what's important about having your taxes done by a professional. You're the one who goes to jail, not me. And I learned that the hard way because I work in California technically, but I live in Ulysses, Kansas. And now, I have a business here, which I love Kansas, but you can tell the mentality difference. California, I had to file for the reseller's tax before they grant me sole proprietorship. And then it still cost me like $400 to file for that total to get them both. I got them both. They published your thing in the newspaper for a month or whatever. I got to Kansas. I'm like, how do I become a sole proprietor in Kansas? They're like, just declare yourself a sole proprietor. Like, I have a business. Yeah. They're like, that's the whole newspaper thing in LA, but like make sure nobody's gonna steal your name. If nobody like says, hey, I'm Outlaw Guitar in Kansas, then like I'm Outlaw Guitar. It's your social security number.
Coined
so
it.
I was like, I don't have to pay anything, register anything. They're like, no. It's like gonna just be on your taxes. So the IRS knows you're still going. And I had a computer liquid cooling company in LA that I'm not gonna try to push here because you really don't ship those systems. You shouldn't. I had some bad times when I tried. No matter how much you try to prep for it. And then there's just not enough population in southwestern Kansas looking for a liquid cooled desktop VR system, to be quiet. Like there are in California. And I basically have like the same.
Because everybody's stacked on
best
each other.
Right?
We're out here.
Yeah. Well, what they learned too is that even if they liquid cool it, like it doesn't cut down the heat. That heat still has to go somewhere. It's like the law of transfer, right? And so it's in the liquid, and liquid holds more heat per square inch than air does, but it all gets dissipated through radiators just like a car. So their 1,000 or 1,200 watt system still is like a radiator in their little tiny apartment and making it stupid hot in there.
Oh, that's already made a difference. You putting the chin behind it.
If you got an ugly chin, just
You're giving him an old 50s hairdo.
Yeah. Happy bush right here, be our secret.
Our werewolf's now going to end up looking like Elvis Presley.
Teen Wolf.
Teen
Wolf 2, Jason Bateman. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. I love Jason Bateman, and I would never tell you to watch one of his movies, but don't watch Teen Wolf 2.
Noted.
I didn't even know they made one.
I didn't know they did.
I was about to say that
you just
too.
said, yeah.
I don't want to seem like the guy who does a lot of horror flicks, but
Yeah, that's one fun thing about our relationship is he fucking hates horror. And
I
I'm
don't
a fucking
hate
fanatic.
I
watch some gory stuff and he'll just sit there gagging.
I don't like gore. I'm very impressed by modern horror. That's what's crazy. Like vintage horror is like, that's funny. Vintage anything. I watched some of the movies I loved as a child. I'm like, why the hell did I like this movie? This is weird. It's like it's not the movie I remember. And that's when they get into that whole weird Matrix split that everybody thinks exists. One was like, did Nelson Mandela go to jail? Yeah. Or not? And everybody's got twisted opinions about that. But I'm like, what happened to me? I thought this movie was awesome. Some were even more awesome because I didn't get all the adult underlying things that were said.
I think it started with me because it was the Berenstein or Berenstein.
Is it Bern? Yeah, Berenstein or Berenstein. I'm like, shit. Yeah.
Because for the longest time,
is this dress yellow or
for
red?
the longest time, we all said it wrong.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
it's actually that spelled that way, and we're like, why did we ever call it Berenstein? Or why
we were saying it wrong. The way,
is the way it actually
but as
is.
we got older, and we're like, no, it's actually
it's
that.
Bernstein, not Berenstein. Why'd you put an extra E in there? Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like, did we really have the Star Spangled Banner and everything when the TV went off at night? You can't find any of that stuff anymore.
I used to get at midnight because I watched. I had UHF still, but I could get Fox. It was 29, the very last dial, right? And I'd watch Voyager and then the Next Generation, and then it goes to like the just cuts, for like 4 hours. Like, why? It's because they didn't have those awful.
They didn't have somebody who wanted to stay up that late running shit.
Not enough population to do.
Some guy, all he had to do was push a button on that one screen. They still running power all night.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, dude, it's just a switcher, and you can't do that automatically. And then they didn't have infomercials. Because now there's so many infomercials. That's what plays from like midnight to 6 a.m. on those channels.
They could have easily found some guy in his basement just wanting to talk about nothing.
Wayne's World.
Party time.
Has
Wayne's
no
World
life.
is our inspiration.
Right.
Still living at home after 30. Not even paying bills.
I still live at home after 30.
You have to in LA.
This is your home.
34.
Well,
I still live with my parents. So
Say that when your daughter's 30. You're
Yeah.
still here.
Look. Which, by the way, my niece is Miss Kansas.
Although I shouldn't
Yeah,
say
don't
that because
drop
my
that
son,
bomb.
my son's home right now. He's from Seattle and he's home right now at my house.
Yeah, you sure you got the right? Ooh, girl. Damn, that jack just came out. This is why I didn't give it to a certain artist who wanted it. I'm like, it's not even done yet. And he had a little rattle in his guitar, and he opened up the jack output. Have you seen it on a Strat? It's a dish.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who's messed with vintage Fender specs. Don't ever take that plate off. If it works and your guitar plugs in, don't touch it.
Just don't touch it.
Even if it's spinning, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Just try to tighten that nut down and walk away because it's slowly spiraling and going to break any day now. But most of it's because they never route that hole deep enough. It needs to have a bit of an inset because when you plug a guitar plug into it, that deep dish, it actually hits wood right at the tip.
Huh.
So they're easy to pop out because they're not seated all the way.
Yeah.
And that's just the curse of the Fender deep dish. Well, he pulls it out. It turns out, I didn't get one of those washers on that, plate when I messed with it last, and it was in the hole. And that's what was causing the rattle. I was like, oh, that seems so amateur of me. My bad. But then he freaks out because he can't get it back on and actually have it plug in at all. So I tell him that's normal. Try to push it down where the two screw holes are. Try to screw it as south, for better reference positioning below you. Push it down as hard as you can before you put those screws in to give you the most space you can get. Or do this, and I sent him a picture with what most people do. You just flip the plate out instead of it being a deep socket in. It's an out with a piece of metal right here that you can see. It just doesn't look pretty. It's not chrome. It's usually very fugly under that thing. But I'm like, this is a quick fix. We'll be there to see you in a week or two, or we'll catch each other up again, and I'll fix it right.
Here's a question I've been meaning to ask. Now, do you have like a storefront too where you're at, or is it just a shop?
Yeah, we're trying to roll it out slowly, but
My house.
Yeah, her old uncle's house that I bought this last year. We're trying to convert the whole living room into basically the living room. And, I guess not dining room because that's a whole nother.
It's like a middle, so it's like 2 rooms of my house, the living room, and then the middle room. We're actually partway through converting it into a retail store.
Okay, you do a hard opening. I know.
Yeah, and then we'll do a hard opening. Yeah, that'd be killer.
I got to get my house.
What's weird is
first.
it's still a house.
Well, I'm waiting for your opening.
Yeah,
okay,
in my house is a 1904, railroad home is what we call them because all those little towns were built 17 miles apart for railroads.
And they only really built those houses the last 10 to 15 years.
Well, mine wasn't. I mean, our area it seems, but I think mine was more than a bunkhouse. I think it was for like an officer of the railroad.
Okay, yeah.
And that's all the homes that are still there in town. Because they would have fallen apart.
And we have a whole area in Wichita that's like that.
Yeah.
And then they sold them all for like $1 each.
Yeah. Because they were government property at one point. I've actually got
still around. Some of the people have done
uncle.
real good work on them, and other people are just
they're like just pick it up, move it off, and dispose of it, and then build something new. Well, my home insurance, they didn't tell me if your house is over 100 years old, your home insurance is like 3 times as expensive. So I even got screwed out of my mortgage by a Hutchison mortgage company that signed everything. They're like, just get all your vendors you need to remodel the home because I didn't want to just mow it down as long as it wasn't not safe to live in. And I got the inspector. He said, you need to fix some things sooner than later. But no, this house is still standing firm.
As long as you got good sticks and backbone to the house.
Yeah. And that's the problem. The jacks that are in the cellar are rusting at the bottom because of the water problems and stuff like that due to the foundation cracks, due to all the rose bushes surrounding the house.
Well, so the rose bushes was obsessed with roses.
Yeah. He loved the roses, but they're like, it's going to tear your original foundation wall apart. That's made out of plaster, basically, because it's not real concrete. But it's only half cellar, half crawl space. So the whole house can't sink and fall into the basement, or anything like that. And when tornadoes come, I don't go down to that cellar because there's like a million spiders in there.
Yeah, so we just kind of sit on the porch and pray.
Speaking of horror movies, Arachnophobia is another reason I don't watch a lot of old horror movies. Yeah, I'm still scared of spiders to this day.
That's such a classic.
From that classic.
Yeah. I even like spiders.
Yeah, and Twisted Clowns from Outer Space or Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
And they're doing
terrified the shit out of me.
Remake. Yeah, another one.
Because I didn't understand. I remember it clearly. I didn't understand that movies were like pretend. I didn't have that reasoning yet. Nobody told me. Catching it, and I'm like, holy shit, there's killer clowns and they come from outer space, people. Like, what are you talking about? No other kid watched that movie yet, in my circle. Are you sure? Dude, I saw a fucking movie yesterday. I don't think anybody was dressing up for that shit. Like, he was a little clown, and he shot the kid.
I got a piece I'm working on of that same clown.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
They ship it to him.
I love that.
Oh my
You
gosh.
hear a scream.
I'll
Ah!
hang it there.
Oh, I'm playing an outlaw guitar.
Yeah.
Right? So, some of it's down to our zoning, since the plans didn't work out with the house that I was going to do to get it completely remodeled. But it's so old timey that it fits with our logo and our name. That was part of the whole Dodge City thing, is be outlaw. Minus the fact that I copy clones of other companies' guitars, but should I sell them like at a, potentially, Fender's on the table because Leo Fender being brilliant and not renewing the trademark before he sold it to CBS in 1969. And it expired. So anybody can make a 60s, 50s Telestrat. Other companies, will come after you, like the other ones I used to work for, especially. But I'm like, I don't care.
That was one of the
I'm not
fun
mass
things
producing it.
we got to explain to people at the show last night, because we have
Can
a
you
couple
make this?
that
Can you
say
make that?
Ibanez on them. They're like, so you guys redo Ibanez? We're like, no, that's our whole thing with being outlaws.
Yeah. Or like, hey, will you do this or
We
that?
call
I'm
them
like,
not
yeah.
an Ibanez.
Yeah, it's not an Ibanez.
So not an Ibanez
When we
outlaw.
listed, this is a not an Ibanez RG7. So that when people type in Ibanez RG7, they still get our hit, But it's like, I'm not literally saying this is an Ibanez, serialized product. Some of them I will redo, like Galaga is a real RG7 Ibanez body, and it's a real RGGO 7-string maple neck. I put 100 hours into customizing the crap out of it and setting it up. To where,
It literally looks like an arcade game, and it's fucking awesome.
and it's got, because at the end of the day, that's what people really hate to know is, look, even if I bought that ash body from China, that ash body was grown in Florida. It's the only place where swamp ash is. They shipped it over to China, and then their CNC machine cut it into this shape, and then they mailed it right back to me. Like, is it really Chinese? What's the difference between their CNC code and the CNC code of somebody doing it here in the U.S.? Nothing. So it's like, yeah, we're kind of giving them the money, but guess what? They're asking like $70 for that body. The U.S. guy wants $400. That's why everybody's buying the Chinese, and they try to do the fair trade agreement repeal to even the playing game, where they can get some of that money. But no, at the end of the day, if importing one of those one at a time, they're not stopping that shit in customs and being like, hey, we got to make sure we take double taxation on this to make it fair to the American guys with that swamp ash. What's crazy is I'm like, that's how much swamp ash they bought. They must have got a whole boat full of it to make it worth that money to bring it to China.
I keep hearing swamp ash.
Yeah, and then
I know.
yeah, no, everybody loves swamp ash. It's my favorite wood, just because everybody's like, "Did you say swamp ass?"
Swamp ash?
Ash with an H. But yes, it's swamp ass.
Yeah, just sniff.
Or I just sneak it in there. It's made out of pure swamp ass.
Pure swamp ash.
It weighs so little. It's 100% swamp ass.
Straight from China via California.
Right. Now I said, that being said, do I want to put the money into China's economy? No, that's how they've stolen manufacturing from us. 100%. They're actually now selling those machines. That's what I'm learning on, is a Chinese CNC machine. But do I want to buy the $10,000 US one? Fuck, I can't afford it to learn. No, I'm going to buy the Chinese one and play around with it. But that's the beauty of the pricing model and mass producing, right?
It all circles back around.
Yeah. Now it gives anybody the ability to have a 3D printer and a CNC machine in your house. I think half of us shouldn't have CNC machines because they're dangerous as hell.
As we have learned.
Yeah. 3D printers? No fear. You might burn the hell out of yourself 2 or 3 times on the same finger that you touch things with, trying to grab things and peel it away.
We have a designated tote box that we put over our CNC machine just in case.
Well, you can buy an enclosure or build one, but it'll cost you like 4 times as much as your CNC machine did. So I don't have a fancy enclosure, but I was like, I can hack this. I grew up in a trailer house. We learned to improvise. I went to Walmart and I just got a big ass Rubbermaid Tupperware see-through enclosure or tub. Didn't buy the lid. Said, "Nah, Walmart, you can keep the lid." And everybody's gonna be freaked out like it's an extra lid.
What is it next to?
Where's that other tub? And I just threw it over it because it turned out it was tall enough to clear my machine. And boom,
We're getting there.
I like what we're doing.
big piece of Rubbermaid.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. It doesn't look so
weird
with his head being on top of him. Yeah.
Right.
Looks like they're taking a couple's photo.
Yeah.
They
Well, we've always looked like it was just 4
Except
heads.
something
and
distracted
never...
Frankenstein, and he's looking to the right.
Trying to give
It's
my
like that
kids.
Chadford
joke.
I can only
It's
say-
like my mother is.
But if I make it
cross-eyed.
looking like this,
Something happened to the right that made everybody smile,
Yeah.
except my mother, because she's cross-eyed. So one of her eyes are right on.
yeah, I think it's right. if I did do that eye where he's looking over, I think that'd be too.
Make it where it looking behind.
Either that or he's like trying to smell his cologne. Like, what was that, Drac? Blah,
Or
blah, blah,
maybe-
blah.
Maybe Wolfman's hair. He's trying to got that 80s, get that pomade in his hair, right?
Yeah.
That 50s pomade.
Like what's
Argio?
the Pawns.
Oh, D'Angelo.
Hey.
Yo,
I'll go.
yo. Hey, cool show last
Yeah.
night, bro.
Did a solo
Of all his original
acoustic
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Very,
And I even sang along with him because I've seen him enough a little bit.
very talented singer and guitar
Of
player.
course, I was way in the back, so they couldn't hear me. Yeah.
Always
That
makes a
was
difference.
Sunset Motel, For the Birds, Ghost Rock.
One
They
Stone.
opened and they closed. One Stone did
Damn.
said.
Battery's dead.
Then
I missed all that.
Salty Seeds. There were bluegrass type of.
Why is
That's
it
awesome.
Yoshi Fest though? Do you know?
Yosh Fest?
Yosh Fest. Why is it Yosh Fest?
Well,
you
that's
would
what
know
his
that.
nickname.
Oh.
Josh Brooks, the guy that he passed away last
Okay.
year, I think, right
So
before
that's
the
what
first
this
one.
is about. Okay.
And so
All I know is you told me I was in the Yosh Fest, so I was like, okay. Everybody's asking me, how do you get into the show? I was asked. I really don't know. Most shows I know how to get into, but this one I had no. Well, we do it to each other all the time.
Yeah.
It's like,
she's like, show up here.
yeah, just show up here. In
I
fact,
do that to
blind
him,
faith.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
understand.
Oh, I'll just forget. I missed a court hearing. I really desperately.
We
should have
really
gone
do.
to.
Yeah.
we really do need a handler that knows what she's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. So I tell her
Well,
I
it's like-
can't do this without her.
I kind of
never
got
regret it.
one, and I love her. It's Marcella, Moss's mother.
Oh, yeah.
Most amazing
Yeah.
sound. That boy can beatbox
Mhm.
with the best in the world.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Oh, there's amazing.
And but
talent
she's
out there,
always
even
like
in
that
Wichita.
with me. She goes, Kevin, show up here. I'm like, well, first she asks if I'm busy usually because she knows I book a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
So at least she's.
but she's like, hey,
You're not busy. You need to get.
man, I
right
wanted to
now."
do that. I wanted to do that show. We were supposed to do this on Friday.
Neon Summer.
Neon Summer is all black light.
Oh,
So we're
that's
going to be up
cool.
there painting with black and neon paint, bright colored paints. That's all really
Yeah.
neon is.
Nice. Oh, that's
And
a
it
new
got
trend with
canceled.
drummers. They pour neon paint all over their drums and then
And it
play.
got-
and
and it
play.
got-
And they have a
Like-
canvas above them.
Yeah.
And it got canceled because
Oh.
bathroom's water wasn't running, which is a necessity.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to spread the bubonic plague.
He's saying thank you too.
Oh, something else.
So,
Hey, is whoever won your contest for nothing a guitar player? Because I'll give them some 3D printed stuff.
Oh, that's what,
They are.
it was Kush, wasn't
Let's guess the numbers.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Kush. He's the rap guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
one thing we do, we
But-
put custom 3D.
I mean,
But
pieces.
let me
Yeah, it's
put it in
Nest
perspective.
Records.
It's with Nest Records, who has For the Birds, who's a real good kind of pop rock, rap rock.
Reggae.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Reggae feel.
Yeah, man, they're really.
I hang out with Boots.
They've
Jason's
added
drummer.
an actual legit drummer
Bubba
or
Lewis.
rappist named Thane, who also has his own solo career. But
Okay.
I think both of them took the next level when they did that. And there's Sunset Motel, kind of a spacey.
My
hippie-
oldest son saw them at Gunsmoke, and he is fucking
Right.
obsessed with them now.
Yeah.
They gave him a shirt, and he won't fucking quit talking about it.
Is that what it takes? Okay.
Whoa, man, it's the age of impression.
And then
Yeah, I love them.
Santiago, who's in the.
Flyover.
These are all Nest record people. They're kind of a epic. Jack Black. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, like
Jack
Jack
Black's
or
rock
something.
and roll,
That's
Yeah.
I
awesome.
mean, he.
which is really good.
It is. It is. I used to hate that band.
But he has that
It's
look,
flyover
and
is
I
on
think he
this.
does it on purpose
I was
because
like,
he'll
don't
sing
mix
like that
comedy
too.
and music.
But yeah, like I said, he's very, very trained. You know.
I know he's on
Singing.
there somewhere.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's been classically trained, I guess, and everything. And I mean, he's just phenomenal, and that whole band is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm always upset when it's not the full band. No, I love his solo stuff, but I love it because the full band. You don't get to see it that often, and I get it because life. And then who else? Kush Powers is part of that. Thing.
Thing.
Tavo.
Sir Charles.
Costs a
Tavo.
lot.
Is
like have a
Sir
full
Charles really
band,
part of
too.
that
Yeah.
or not? I think he's loosely
There's
associated.
3
with
other
it.
guys in minimally. You got to split.
Kinda
it.
like we are.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of them and we're not. You know what I'm saying? We're not officially, but we're like their official artists, and he does all the flyers and
Oh, hell
stuff
yeah.
for them. Yeah, if you ever need some flyers done,
Yep. Sir Charles. Yep.
he is.
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
never
You
sure.
need to come on the show sometime.
I
We
may
got
have to do
next-
it.
I just know Sir Charles
Flyer
travels a
string
lot, so I don't
joys.
see him that much.
Yeah, especially for like the Winfield Festival.
Because, like I said,
Yeah.
we
But
kind of
we'll
are,
do
but we're
some
not.
strings.
You know.
Crap, we're not going to get an order of them in time. It's like next month.
Yeah.
Better be
So-
quick.
But if you ever need
Bluegrass.
flyers and need them yesterday, this guy gets stuff done.
Yeah,
quick.
we're gonna have to hit you up for some stuff because we're endorsed and we're dealers for Stringjoy, EMG, Spurzle, Graph Tech, Hip Shot, DNA stands.
There's a lot of
And
them.
the
Ga-
only
Gator
place
cases
we
once
have
we,
that
get
is our
resellers.
huge canvas outlaw sign, and we can't take that everywhere.
Yeah,
Josh is like he's also a
that's
jack of all trades, master of none, like me, but I'm in a different area, so I won't press the rest because I don't want to commit him to stuff. But
right.
he does a lot that could definitely benefit what you guys are looking for.
Totally, and we're looking for that. I mean, that's what you find is like if you guys have already done something commercially, like even streaming, like the
He did
consultation against that. Yeah,
He did that.
yeah, your shirts, and like I'd rather have somebody else and an insider on that, tell me what to do because I know if I just hop online and spend some money somewhere, you don't get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Almost all the time or any of the time. Everything's from like Wish, right? That's
Yeah.
the real trick. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
great, they just wished this and then repackaged it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a-holes.
He even made this collector card set here. But this is just parts of it.
That's
Yeah, I'm
something
working
I
on
learned is like,
the
let
new
somebody
one, but-
Oh,
else
those are fucking
let somebody else
cool.
make all the mistakes, and then learn from them and shortcut yourself.
Yeah, he doesn't make those anymore, but he's making some new ones.
Do
Those
it.
are
Sounds good, man.
rad.
Flyers.
Without trying to be like
Yeah, because
Yamaha or-
Kush only goes through him for flyers right now. He even admitted that like big time.
Yeah.
I love Kush, man. Every time he comes into my booth and there's someone there, I always sell something.
Check those out. Those are fucking cool.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean,
He's usually saying, yeah, they're doing stuff for charity. And I'm like, Kush, I am the charity. He goes, it's still charity. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'll run with it.
Yeah.
Because he actually said that one time when I just did come from a charity.
I bet he could.
And
make
I
a
was
used-
like-
I bet he'd make a good used car salesman. if
And
he
I'm
had to.
like,
Some
yeah.
people have the charisma.
I couldn't do it. I'm not a good. I wouldn't.
And he's got that energy too. I mean, it's just like,
Well, they say every CEO was a salesman at some point. Every
Yeah.
good CEO.
Yeah.
That's what I am. I sell
Because
hotel rooms.
What you've learned is how to
Yeah,
sell,
good at my
and it's
job,
how to
too.
sell yourself.
Yeah.
It's how you climb a corporate ladder for sure. You can't do that.
I wish I'd have
Just
known
on your-
about that whole hotel thing. Next time I'm down there, that'll definitely.
Man,
save
I
me.
am so good at selling hotel
So I did
rooms.
an
at my
Airbnb
place.
there, and it was still a decent price.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what you.
I'm shocked that
said.
Kansas will allow that because apparently Las Vegas is like no Airbnbs and they're trying to crack down on it, but Airbnb's still posted. Nobody's
They even
applying.
have B&Bs in like really podunk towns over in Southwest Kansas, like Montezuma. That's where I went to high
There's
school.
a lot of homes.
I found out
people's
they have
parents'
one there.
homes that they kept
Well,
that they didn't move
You,
into.
you know
'cause they
what? A
don't wanna
lot
go
of
back
that's
home to
happening.
the
You know
middle of
what? A
nowhere.
lot of happening too, though. A lot of people travel here to hunt.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
Oh my, yeah, it's getting
Yeah,
ready too.
she knows that
I
being a
deal with
hotel
hunters every
clerk.
year, and I
Mhm.
always get deer jerky out of them, and it's fucking awesome.
It's good stuff for sure.
Because we just have, rutting season's coming up. And all
Yep.
those
She
damn.
tells me, everybody showed up today and was like, "Where's the good?"
So basically, our cars
Do I
hitting
look
deer
like
is going to
100?
increase by about 100-fold between now and New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the newest little series that if I get enough takers, I'll do the cards on again. But
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck, I will buy some.
make a zombie guitar out of these two people.
Yes.
He's got me as a Frankenstein monster, and I have no clue what you're an
Yeah.
axe murderer.
I'm Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, okay. So you turned me
Jeez,
into that
yes.
because I do. That is one of the main. I do a lot of the Frankenstein monster. I do it a lot.
Mhm.
I just love it. He's the ultimate zombie, man. I don't
He
care what
is.
anybody
The
says.
first fictional one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Dr. Frankenstein, and that's
So,
Dracula.
so what's with the meat cleaver then?
Well, he had to cut you up somehow, didn't he? To put the pieces back together.
Wasn't De Niro a Frankenstein? No, who was the first one who's actually a famous actor?
Christopher didn't look anything like the one that everybody loves.
No,
Yeah,
no,
well,
it was totally like almost
In
terrible.
Young Frankenstein.
Young
Young
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's who.
The dad from Everybody Hates Raymond.
Yeah,
I love this when they're singing that. the
Sipping
Reds.
on the Ritz. Classic.
Yeah, if he was still alive, he'd been great for that movie, the monsters and stuff that's coming out.
Oh yeah.
And then how everybody's mad about fucking that Mexican actor who got the role for Gomez.
And he looks exactly like the
Gomez.
comic
Yeah.
book. Yeah. Looks
And you
just
know,
like
I-
it.
And I have no issue with Rob Zombie using his wife in all these parts. She's competent enough and good enough actress.
Oh, yeah, she
it's
is.
not like she's awful at it. Fuck, I watched all his horror movies
Tim
and
Burton
didn't
did
even
it.
realize that she was the same
Mhm.
chick, and was like, oh crap.
Well, there was one that she wasn't. She was the victim.
Victim versus the
And that one was
the
I can't
Devil's
remember.
Rejects was her the bad guy, right?
all the other ones. She's the bad. She's
Yeah.
usually
The bad guy.
The only one I didn't really get into was Salem.
Salem, yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
I
Salem's
haven't
a
watched
lot.
that one yet because my significant
I
other.
love them all. Lords of Salem.
The Witch.
Swords of
Salem,
Salem, that's what
yeah.
it is.
I love them all.
It's such a good one.
Yeah,
But yeah, it does.
It's
it
definitely
does
got
compare.
that 70s horror flow.
Mhm.
That's really slow and you got to watch.
I
And
should
that's-
notice-
nod off a little bit, wake up a couple hours later, and it's still going, and the same scene. It's like, what the hell?
My ex-wife actually knew the tour manager for Rob Zombie because he was high school best friends with John Five.
Yeah.
And I never got to meet John Five out of it, but I did meet Ruben a few times.
Yeah.
And he got like colon cancer, sadly, but I think he's survived it. But he bought a house in LA and had a fancy car, but he was on the road all the time. And with Rob Zombie, and he's like, dude, as much as I love being a tour manager and love Rob Zombie, because he goes around the world, he doesn't stop either. It's like, where's he got time to make movies and shit? I was like, he doesn't even know. But once he's like, it's usually because he's done a year of not touring that everybody wants to see him live again, buys all of his tickets, they all sell out at every venue around the world. He goes, I'm gonna slow down. He became Rick Springfield's manager. I was like, Rick Springfield? He goes, dude, I know. Everybody knows Jesse's girl. But dude leaves Friday night. We get on a jet and we fly to the casino he's gonna play at, and we do a show Friday night, we do a show Saturday night, we do a show Sunday. We're back in LA by Monday. Like, why? Because I bought a house with all my per diem I was at with Rob Zombie. I never got to drive that car or even sleep in that house. I was always on the road. I was like, why did I buy this place? It's like now that the equity's like out the roof
and he's
cool.
still gonna catch some pretty decent checks.
Yeah. Oh,
checks
yeah.
for
It's still
Springfield.
a good, consistent gig.
But he's also not in Rick Springfield's not in that relevant stage where he was
No.
touring all over and
But-
selling out all
yeah.
over the world.
Well, he sells. Well, I
Rob
can't say he
Zombie
sells
makes
out the
better
casinos,
movies than
but he does
music.
300 shows a year.
I mean, I
still.
love White Zombie, but Rob
You know,
Zombie.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
every weekend
mean
adds up.
Tuesday,
52
Thursday.
weeks, right? Three
Yeah.
times. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
150 days. So he works
Some
half the
murder
year.
dolls.
But he has a
Some
family.
murder. Oh my
Oh,
god.
man.
Did you hear the recent shit about that?
No. How are they even a thing still with Jorgensen dead?
Yeah.
Well, okay, Murder Dolls was Wednesday
Murder Doll,
13
yeah.
and Joey Jordison.
Yeah.
Okay, but they did one album. Joey
dropped out.
Joey
yeah.
Wednesday recorded everything, and they brought on touring artists.
Yeah.
Okay, so that from that first album, they did 10 years hiatus, and then they
Okay.
Joey
there's
Joey
a
and,
pause,
and
right?
Wednesday got back together, did
Okay.
the second album,
Sure.
brought all new people in because they didn't
Yeah,
they didn't
they
want
were
them
contracted.
photographed at all. It was just Joey, and so like a year before Joey died, AC because I just read this story. AC, the guy, one of the touring guys from the very first album,
Yeah.
like you said, the license fell off.
Yeah.
The band wasn't active. Murder Dolls wasn't active, so
Yeah,
they didn't get
10
the
years.
Joey and
Yeah,
Wednesday didn't get the notification that hey, your licensing for Murder Dolls is falling off.
Oh.
Joey
yeah.
scooped it up,
Oh.
and or not Joey, AC
Okay.
scooped it up
Okay.
behind without because he knew Joey would be pissed off. That's
Yeah.
why AC scooped it up, and that's why.
Yeah.
Very-
Now you can't be pissed off
now-
now that he's dead.
Well, but I mean,
But is
Wednesday
his
still.
family coming after it? Or no, Wednesday.
He
was
did
his
it
other
legally.
partner
He
is.
did
Yeah.
it legally.
For sure.
But it was just kind of
Yeah.
shady on
Okay, we need to switch guitars because my leg is
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
fucking I can't do it.
Yeah, sorry,
anymore.
that amp
God,
died a long time ago. So,
It's so fucking heavy.
So don't buy Murder
Jesus
Doll
Christ.
merchandise anymore.
dude, it is like,
Yeah.
here, you get a handle maker for a minute.
No, that-
Yeah, she's.
Well, you know,
fucking
another
heavy.
big thing that everybody's mad about when we're talking about guitars and guitarists and bands is the Pantera thing,
Yeah.
which that does not phase me one bit.
No,
No, it's still
Zach
half the band.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
okay. Everybody's mad because
Well, and Vinny died too, and they were the brothers.
and
between
that
the two.
and then and I get it. He was the guitar sound, but
yeah,
the
but
vocal-
those were the two who had a contention with Phil, if I recall,
yeah.
and that caused the friction that left the band not touring. Even like they were hating each other when they went on tour, and Dimebag got killed.
All right. So and now but the whole family can't do anything about it because he owns parts of the rights.
The rights, yeah. I mean, hell, I didn't know Michael Jackson sold his rights to the Beatles, and he finally bought them back.
But then he also owned a lot of the
Before he died.
Beatles.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
then he got
Too.
So when he married Priscilla, he got all Elvis's shit too.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
can see the.
Oh,
blade.
sorry, yeah, that he owned the Beatles as
Yeah.
well as his own
Yeah.
music.
For the
Right.
longest time.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney has it
Had to
back
buy
now.
it back, yeah. And then, like right before he dies, yeah, you don't have to hold it.
You know, that's all
Oh, you're just
because
showing it off.
that all that cutthroat stuff comes from Michael Jackson's dad, though.
Yeah, it
really
does.
stem it.
Well, that's what
What's up,
Neverland was all about.
We're getting ready to get off here.
that stuff that just came on.
He didn't get to have a childhood because he was worked
Yeah.
to death
So we're
to
gonna
be a musician.
pop off here. I got some shit.
Oh
It's
yeah.
been an
we're
hour.
done.
Oh,
Been an
God,
hour.
I gotta-
So
I gotta
just
figure out where these
plug
kids
your
are.
thing real quick. How
Yep.
they can see your
Oh,
guitars,
yeah.
how they get your guitars, get in touch with you.
Yeah, we're on Reverb at Outlaw Guitar Company there. That's a little harder to search. But you can hit us up at Outlaw Guitar Company on Instagram. Should be
And
pretty simple.
Facebook.
Facebook.
Facebook is our bigger one right
yeah,
now. We're
Facebook
trying to get
is at
Instagram. more.
Outlaw Guitar Co. If I recall.
No,
Yeah.
that's Instagram.
No.
Facebook is.
Is it vice versa?
I
don't
copied
even know.
it. It's
This
on
is
the-
why I
it's
have-
on the
That's why I'm
description.
here.
Yeah.
You just
Okay,
click on it.
okay, on the promotion stuff, listen to her, not him.
Yeah. Take
He's
a
the
picture
builder.
of the QR
Yeah,
code.
you
That's
shut
what
up.
it's at.
On Facebook, you can find us at
Well, you know
Outlaw
what's
Guitar
cool about it
Company.
now?
Yeah,
They
just
actually,
search it. And
Yeah.
they actually have them completely linked now.
Yeah,
I
they
noticed
do.
that on my personal
Okay,
and
so
my,
it'll get you
and
to
my
either,
page that whenever I get on there, my Instagram, so I actually make sure
Yeah.
that's linked through the Instagram.
Yeah,
stuff
I
now.
post an Instagram and it goes to my Facebook
And
company
vice
page
versa.
too.
When you
yeah,
post it.
when I post it.
If
Okay.
I have to call him and be like, hey, you
Make
need
a
to make a
post.
fucking post.
Do you want guitars built or do you want posts? You can't have
and
the
that's
both.
why he has me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming out.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And
hope you
beautiful
do it again
guitars.
soon.
Everybody
Yeah,
go
thanks.
check them out. And
Buy the backbreaker. It's too heavy. I can't. I won't.
From
ship
now
it.
on, though, you definitely
No.
need to let me know when you're in town because I want
Yeah.
to push the hell out of you guys for
Yeah,
that
next
road show.
month
Oh, yeah.
we're back for Bluegrass. I got to fly to LA to go work for Owen for a week and clear out the first floor that they subleased. But
Yeah, but
you know, I'll
September
be here
we'll be back here.
twice at least for September.
Yeah.
So.
Because you talked
Well,
about
legit.
how you wanted to be more involved in art shows too. It might be
Yeah.
some of those where we're already at, and we can just have you guys.
Oh, that
come
would be
as
awesome,
a
yeah.
guest even.
I still want you to do that chalk guitar she was talking about, just because I was like, why didn't I make that connection at the venue we were at? You know, after he gave us his art of that chalk guitar, I was like, we have a chalkboard guitar. So I want to definitely get that to you next month, and then
'Cause I actually have
whether
some
you do it
actual
live or
chalk, and I
whatever.
got the soft pastels. Too.
Okay.
But that's
and it's
kind
front
of
and
my
back,
that's kind of my big
so you can, I mean, just go to town on it.
It's pretty loose medium though, so that's gonna be weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be. You're already messing with that, like you said. You're working on that one guitar for commission, and it's
But that's actually
not
I'm
easy.
it's acrylic I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. Which is what her artist on the East Coast is doing for
Tyler,
us.
he's doing oil.
Like
That's
I
why
said,
we just gave
I
it
did
to
all
him.
this
Yeah.
stuff and I had it all going, and I looked at it and I go, my God, that looks like everybody else's piece. I need to do my work.
Yeah.
So
Well, like you said, if
so
you're
I
not
simpled-
happy with it,
so I
how do you
simpled it
expect your
up.
customer
I
to be
simpled
happy?
it up, and I'm doing
Yeah.
this little voodoo doll thing on it. That,
Hell yeah.
like a lot of stuff I do.
Like corn issues or something.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Bring it out.
We're going to get off here. Check them out. We'll see you probably next Sunday. I think we will be back next Sunday. But, you know, if you
Right.
see us, you see us.
It's
If
been a
not-
rough summer. Been too hot and just a
Oh,
lot
God.
of
It's
stupid
Florida
stuff.
out there right
Yeah.
now. I was like, are we in
And-
Kansas or
Yeah.
Florida?
And all the gas prices, really, because I used to
Yeah.
spend $60 a week. Now I spend $100 a week.
Yeah.
On gas.
It's creeping back down a little
Yeah.
bit.
I was gonna sell my Prius. Now it's a good time to sell it, you know. But once gas doubled, I was like, nope, gonna hold on to that thing for a little bit. Yeah, because I got my F-150, like a
I'm gonna start
94
riding
to
around
50.
on one of those motorized scooters.
There you
Yeah. It's got 2 gas tanks for a reason.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
a longer trip.
Well, I got that big truck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check us out. Maybe you'll see us. Maybe you don't. Later.
We have
Right.
plans though, so plan on it.
Yeah. Might not see us on the show, but you'll see us in a public.
Somewhere.